Within Black Tortoise's body lay a heavenly dimensional weapon akin to Liu Karen's Tian High City Cannon. Responding to Vermilion Bird's summons, Black Tortoise stated, "The Dark Light Cannon did inflict some damage, but that alone won't suffice to deal with him. I must request higher-level authorization from the region." He immediately petitioned Supreme Commander Li Guangxiao to deploy more advanced weaponry. Li Guangxiao's reply came instantly, "What are you waiting for? Eliminate these damned invaders at any cost. Otherwise, East Sea City is finished." The situation was critical, and Li Guangxiao showed no hesitation whatsoever. If this weren't their territory, Li Guangxiao would have even considered deploying a few Reaper of Love directly. Received. Permissions granted. Meanwhile, though the silver armor appeared somewhat battered, its imposing aura remained formidable. Seeming to temper its disdain for humanity, it raised the blood orb in its hand as it turned to look at Azure Dragon and Vermilion Bird beside it. Even when facing children, carelessness is unforgivable. "Then, I shall swiftly end this battle." No sooner had the words left his mouth than the blood jade in his palm exploded mid-air. A terrifying blood river surged forth from the sky. Azure Dragon and Vermilion Bird seemed to glimpse countless shadowy souls within it, the faces of fallen warriors, struggling and wailing as they were carried toward them on the crimson waves. Azure Dragon's expression grew grim. He suddenly seized Vermilion Bird's body with his massive hand and hurled her toward the distance with all his might. "Azure Dragon, you!" Vermilion Bird hadn't expected Azure Dragon to act this way, but her body was already being violently flung away beyond her control. Azure Dragon's voice rang in her ears, "You haven't broken through your limits yet. Staying here won't help me. Go instead, assist in handling the battle in other sectors." Azure Dragon's voice was icy cold, as if he believed Vermilion Bird was holding him back. Yet within Vermilion Bird's eyes, a misty haze slowly began to form. She understood Azure Dragon's character. His choice in this moment was simply to protect her. Because the enemy they faced was far too powerful. An indescribable feeling welled up within Vermilion Bird. She resented her own current weakness. Even as one of the top 3 masters in East Sea City, she found herself utterly useless against the invasion of a supreme power. She refused to sacrifice another comrade. Yet she hadn't forgotten her duty as a soldier, a guardian of the East Sea region. Rushing in on impulse to throw herself away would serve no purpose. Vermilion Bird gritted her teeth, stabilized her stance, and activated the flight thrusters on her combat suit. She sped toward the battlefield where the green armor warriors fought. Azure Dragon, facing the blood river of the silver armor, now sensed the imminent threat of death. He unleashed his full power. Golden breath shot toward the blood river, clashing with that strange force. Yet his attacks were completely swallowed by the blood river, not even creating a ripple. Just as despair gripped him, as the blood river coiled around his body, Black Tortoise finally completed the docking with the advanced weapon. He lifted his head to gaze skyward. The night sky was thick with dark clouds, not a favorable sign. Yet above the dense, heavy clouds, higher still, in a more distant region, a massive military satellite unfurled its wing-like solar panels, adjusting its angle. An immense surge of energy gathered along the transmission conduit, concentrating at its stinger-like terminal. A blinding white beam erupted downward, striking the azure planet below. From space, it appeared as a slender, insignificant thread. Yet as it pierced the atmosphere, cutting through layer upon layer of clouds, descending with unstoppable force, the sky erupted in deafening roars, like countless thunderclaps detonating in succession. Boom! Above, the clouds were violently torn asunder, the surging energy clearing the sky completely. Silver Armor seemed to sense something, lifting his head to gaze skyward. Amidst the night, a colossal meteor ignited directly above him, plummeting downward with unmatched force. Around that beam of light, layer upon layer of clouds instinctively parted, forming vast circular passages. It all happened in an instant. By the time Silver Armor realized it was descending, its speed had reached unimaginable levels. Thus, the instant he looked up, he was completely engulfed by that immense silver pillar of light. The radiance illuminated East Sea City. As if dawn had broken. In the 1980s, Colombia's high command proposed a bold Star Wars initiative. Using satellites as weapons, they aimed to establish a global strike network. The goal of this plan was to achieve precise, powerful strikes capable of instantly covering any location on the planet. Later, as the rivalry between Colombia and Fremons concluded, this plan gradually faded from public view. However, by the mid-21st century, driven by technological advancements and the rise of armed forces, the Star Wars initiative was revived by numerous superpowers. December 2050, Glacial Descent. To counter the relentless emergence of mutants, global leaders began developing more potent weapons capable of pinpoint strikes against individual targets. Weapons launched from the planet's surface, capable of destroying Epsilon-level mutants, were dubbed heavenly dimensional weapons. Weapons launched from space, via satellites or other means, that instantly descended upon the Earth's surface were called space-based weapons. As the guardian of Washu Kingdom's coastal defenses, the East Sea region naturally possessed the most cutting-edge technology. The space-based weapon crashed down with a thunderous impact. The sheer terror of its energy unleashed a storm that shook the entire East Sea city. The Mist Valley warriors, who had been slaughtering the Sea Dragon Guard, witnessed this scene resembling a punishment from heaven. Their expressions abruptly changed. How could this happen? The predicted time hasn't been reached yet. Why has the heavenly execution descended? Could it be our predictions were wrong? The black and white commander, clad in black and white armor, flew directly toward the space-based weapon's impact site without hesitation. If the silver armor truly fell in battle, he would have to reconsider whether to proceed with the subsequent operations. Because if that were the case, the entire offensive plan would need to be altered. He dared not approach the strike zone too closely, fearing collateral damage. "General, are you all right?" The black and white commander reached out to silver armor. After a moment, a voice replied, "I'm fine." Silver armor's body came out from the crater formed by the space-based weapon. Though his armor was now warped and deformed, he was still alive. Yet anyone could sense the rage surging from him, dark and tidal, threatening to engulf the entire East Sea city. At that moment, Azure Dragon saw the dark red skin exposed beneath his shattered armor. It was skin utterly unlike that of humans, crimson, tough, like dried animal hide, covered in small, mottled bumps. Azure Dragon's gaze darkened. Just as Chaos said back then, a lizard-like creature? Indeed, it's a being from another civilization. The failure of the space-based weapon to kill the silver armor creature filled both Black Tortoise and Azure Dragon with a sense of a bad omen. Such powerful weapons weren't deployed without limitations. Their output was so immense that they required long periods of cooldown. Still, with 2 against 1, victory wasn't entirely out of reach. Moreover, this was East Sea City. If they unleashed powerful weapons without regard for consequences, it might offer some advantage. But at that very moment, Silver Armor turned his head away, no longer glancing at Azure Dragon. His gaze fixed intently on Black Tortoise. Beneath the shattered mask, his crimson right eye was exposed. He realized the colossal sea monster in the ocean was the true main force of the human faction. And being repeatedly attacked, reduced to such a sorry state, had finally enraged him. "This one is yours. Try to take him alive. If that's impossible, bring back his corpse." No sooner had Silver Armor spoken than he rode the Blood River, instantly soaring toward Black Tortoise. Azure Dragon looked astonished. After fighting for so long, he had believed his life was in danger, yet the enemy's commander had actually fled. The black and white commander watched Silver Armor depart, then turned his gaze to Azure Dragon. "Will you come yourself, or shall I take action?" Azure Dragon's eyes darkened. He couldn't defeat the enemy's commander, but surely he could handle a mere subordinate. "Roar!" He let out a furious roar, opening his massive jaws as he lunged at the black and white commander, who seemed as small as an ant to him. Neon Harbor, the naval base of the Columbus Ocean Fleet. This was destined to be an extraordinary night. Amidst a winter so bitter, falling snow daily, thunderclaps suddenly rent the sky, as if heralding some impending event. Yet Admiral Cardalus, captain of the Hell's Lock and a Navy rear admiral, continued to revel in his nightly indulgences. His villa lay strewn with discarded lingerie and semen collection bags, the floor littered with empty bottles. He lay sprawled across an enormous round bed, surrounded by a dozen women, some scantily clad, others completely naked, arranged like a colorful jigsaw puzzle, sprawled haphazardly around him. He basked in the blissful indulgence of his intoxicated existence. For some reason, he sensed danger drawing near. Cardalus climbed out from among the women. In the distance, the black ocean churned with waves, as if some terrifying entity was approaching. Boom! A thunderclap struck outside the window, illuminating the night sky. Cardalus glanced toward the window, his smile abruptly fading. An inexplicable irritation washed over him, a feeling he hadn't experienced in ages. The last time was when he traveled to Edo and encountered those 3 black-robed monsters. Damn it, why do I keep feeling something's going to happen tonight? Casually dressing himself, he dialed Canello's number. Hey, Canello. Captain, what's up? Damn it, I don't know. I just feel like something's going to happen. Isn't that weird? I was actually sleeping on top of a woman's belly just now. You mean? Maybe enemies are coming to attack? Canello found this utterly baffling. Who would dare attack a Columbia naval port? Canello thought for a moment, then suddenly said, "Oh, by the way, 2 of our warships near Star Island were destroyed tonight. Do you think it might be related?" Who cares? Just be careful. Cardalus said. Alright, since you say so, I'll go check it out. Canello ended the call, but he didn't dismiss the matter. As a professional soldier, he strictly adhered to discipline. He never took his naval duties lightly. Especially now, having just received intelligence about the Mist Valley incident. He stood at the top of the towering observation tower. He raised his sniper rifle, slowly scanning the waters surrounding the harbor through its optical scope. The sea was calm, the black tide flowing gently, yet nothing was visible. A faint blue glow emerged from the depths of his eyes, instantly expanding his field of vision dozens of times over. His ability, the Watcher, expands vision and grants X-ray vision. Even the deepest ocean depths could be penetrated, revealing what lay hidden beneath the waves. And with just this one glance, Canello's expression abruptly changed. Beneath the pitch-black sea, he saw an unimaginably colossal creature charging toward the naval base with the waves. A monstrous beast, its size far exceeding hundreds of meters, seemed to sense someone's gaze and open its enormous, pitch-black eyes. It locked eyes with Canello in the distance, its gaze utterly devoid of emotion. Canello's body involuntarily stumbled back 2 steps. Instantly, he sent a voice message to Cardalus. Cardalus, stop messing around. A terrifying monster has appeared near the naval base. As if responding to his words, a colossal shadow emerged from beneath the previously calm sea surface, appearing over a dozen nautical miles ahead of the naval base. Before it, even the largest battleship seemed as small as a toy. Canello immediately notified Cardalus and the entire Naval High Command, issuing the highest alert order within his authority. But the colossal beast had already arrived. Boom! The sea churned violently, surging dozens of meters high as the monstrous creature's immense form emerged from beneath the waves. It was a scarlet-hued beast, resembling a colossal lizard, with a long dorsal fin along its back. Sharp spines protruded from it like swords over 10 meters long. As it emerged from the water, the soldiers stationed along the coastline were overcome with terror. Never in their lives had they witnessed such a terrifying sight. Before this colossal crimson sea monster, they truly seemed as insignificant as ants. Even the largest aircraft carriers paled in comparison to its size. The crimson beast appeared along the coastline. It surveyed the array of human warships lining the shore, then performed the simplest of actions, sweeping its thick, long neck across them. Boom! After enduring the huge impact, many warships were instantly blown up and a series of explosions occurred on the coastline. Canello gripped his sniper rifle tightly. He wanted to fire, but the instinct of a top-tier sniper screamed that firing now would mean certain death. The enemy before him possessed power far beyond what he could personally withstand. Shrieks echoed relentlessly as naval soldiers fell in droves, many killed outright by the mere shockwaves of the sea monster's attacks. The naval base's alarm instantly echoed across the entire harbor as massive reinforcements poured in. Yet before the sea monster, they were utterly insignificant. No matter how many humans gathered, they remained unnoticed. At the critical moment, the ocean fleet's ultimate force, Cardalus, finally arrived. He flew in, standing atop a massive missile. Ha ha ha. As always, Cardalus made an incredibly flashy entrance. In his view, a superhero deserved to command everyone's attention. The massive Tomahawk-style missile beneath his feet, under his control, hurtled straight toward the sea monster. Simultaneously, Canelo pulled the trigger without hesitation, activating his ability, Everything Penetrates. The reinforced supersized missile and Canelo's attack struck the colossal sea monster simultaneously. After the deafening explosion, the creature's massive body didn't even flinch. Canelo's ability pierced through the monster's thick hide, causing thick, viscous green blood to flow. Yet compared to the colossal creature's massive frame, this wound was like a needle prick on human skin. Cardalus' gaze hardened. After a long period, Cardalus' strength had now surpassed the threshold of the Black Chariot. Originally a technologically enhanced human, his potential should have been capped. Yet as the post-apocalyptic era progressed, increasingly powerful and extraordinary ability users emerged. In Columbia's homeland, such exceptionally powerful mutants had helped him shatter his own limitations. Cardalus stood on a pool of viscous gelatinous substance, grinding his teeth with a forced smile. His gaze fixed on the colossal sea beast, filled with murderous intent. Running wild on my turf? That's a slap in my face. Since you're here today, you're not leaving alive. His hands clasped before him, transparent droplets of substance gradually formed between them, rapidly coalescing into a massive water sphere. Super primordial water. Cardalus raised his arms high, launching the water sphere like a bullet directly at the colossal sea beast. The crimson-skinned sea beast glanced up, noticing Cardalus' presence. It opened its maw, a black energy sphere rapidly forming within before hurtling forward to collide head-on with the super primordial water. A terrifying energy storm rampaged through the naval fleet's harbor. The energy's aftershock swept toward Cardalus, causing him to pale instantly. After this brief exchange, Cardalus instantly sensed something was terribly wrong. Behind the crimson beast, swollen pods suddenly burst open, releasing hundreds of armored warriors. They drew their weapons and charged toward the entire naval base. The expressions of every naval officer turned grim. A single red beast was already so formidable, and now warriors from another mysterious civilization? How could they possibly counter this? At the naval base headquarters, Fleet Admiral Douglas, stationed there, watched the brutal battlefield on the large screen with a grave expression. He said in a deep voice, "Prepare for evacuation. Also, prepare the space-based weapon." A junior officer under him asked, "Then what about the heavenly dimensional weapon?" The heavenly dimensional weapon he referred to was, of course, the Reaper of Love. For within the military's secret protocols, there existed this clause: when facing an unstoppable, existential threat, all means must be employed to annihilate it. At that moment, the authorization to deploy the Reaper of Love would be fully unlocked. Fleet Admiral Douglas's face darkened. He certainly didn't want his own headquarters destroyed. Otherwise, even if he managed to return to Columbia's mainland, his career would be utterly ruined. Yet current intelligence indicated that all civilizations of the underground civilization possessed terrifying power. Relying solely on their own forces to confront this threat would likely result in the complete annihilation of the ocean fleet. After prolonged contemplation, Fleet Admiral Douglas activated a communication channel he hadn't used in ages. It's time to call upon Franklin for support. The capital of Columbia was located in Franklin State's Vale District. In the post-apocalyptic world, the ocean fleet served as Columbia's provincial governor, wielding absolute authority over its domain. However, when it came to military might and technological prowess, the core power had always remained firmly in Franklin's hands. Unless faced with an insurmountable challenge, Fleet Admiral Douglas would never willingly seek Franklin's aid. On the battlefield now, Cardalus had no choice but to face the Crimson Sea Beast alone. For Canelo couldn't support him at this moment either. Within the Mist Valley's mutant forces, a figure clad in black and white armor had emerged, possessing white charioteer power. This compelled Canelo to personally intervene. This left Cardalus with a massive headache. Damn it, damn it. Why does such a monster even exist? He clutched his forehead, his eyes filled with bitter resentment. If only my absolute sovereignty could control an Epsilon-class deep-sea beast. As he uttered these words, he unleashed his power across all the seas. Within the surrounding waters, masses of mutated sea beasts surfaced like boiled dumplings, swarming densely to fill the entire expanse. Hordes of sea creatures, especially in group battles. I've never feared them. Cardalus gritted his teeth as he declared. With the summoning of Cardalus' absolute sovereignty, countless sea beasts surged madly from the waters near the harbor. Their sheer numbers startled even the Mist Valley forces. A significant portion of these sea beasts possessed upper delta tier strength. While they posed little threat to the Crimson supersized sea beasts, they were formidable opponents for the ordinary green armor warriors. Cardalus' true strength never lay in one-on-one combat. It was in large-scale, chaotic warfare that his power reached its zenith. Roar! The sea beasts let out terrifying roars. Under Cardalus' command, they charged recklessly toward the Mist Valley forces. The Crimson Sea Monster, sensing these minor threats as nuisances, sought to eliminate them first. But how could Cardalus give it that chance? Roaring with laughter, he raised his fist high and charged forward like a colossus, trailing a towering wave hundreds of meters high as he slammed into the Crimson Sea Monster. In the ocean, his combat prowess surged exponentially. The Crimson Sea Monster glanced at him without hesitation. Its massive body leapt abruptly from the water, its elongated head like a giant sword swinging viciously toward Cardalus. Its blinding speed triggered a deafening sonic boom midair, obliterating every warship and sea beast in its path into dust. Superhuman physique. Cardalus grinned savagely, charging at the Crimson Colossus with a clenched fist. A transparent, peculiar water enveloped his entire body, the super primordial water capable of dissolving all matter. The instant they collided, Cardalus felt unimaginable force surge from his fist through his entire body. Snap! He distinctly heard the sound of his own arm bones shattering, yet the super primordial water exploded from his hand like bursting fireworks, spreading up the Crimson Beast's neck. Sizzle! The super primordial water corroded the beast's body, rapidly melting its skin and flesh. Meanwhile, Cardalus was violently flung backward, crashing directly into the ocean. White smoke billowed from the scarlet beast's neck, the wound appearing gruesome and terrifying. Yet, compared to its colossal frame, this injury was hardly a major concern. Yet, the sea suddenly erupted, and Cardalus burst forth from its depths once more. He examined his twisted right arm. With a slight exertion, the deformed limb snapped back into its original form like a spring. His superhuman physique granted him formidable self-healing abilities. He was Cardalus, Lord of the Ocean. Columbia's most successful enhanced human in history. Enhancement mutants, beast-type enhancements, none were worth mentioning before Columbia's world-class genetic engineering. Having embarked upon the glorious path of evolution, Cardalus never intended to stop. His body had long been irregular at the laboratories. But he had also gained immense power. Still, it's pretty damn good. Cardalus roared with maniacal laughter. The Crimson Sea Beast looked down upon this slightly sturdier ant before him, his gaze betraying utter bewilderment. He couldn't fathom why this creature still possessed the audacity to laugh wildly. It opened its massive jaws, coalescing a black energy sphere within. Though small relative to its own size, to a human it would be larger than a truck. Cardalus sensed the impending danger, yet his face bore only a crazed, warlike expression. Heavenly dimensional weapon ready. The intelligent system in his ear delivered this alert. Prepare to receive the weapon. The moment the voice faded, a metal gate abruptly opened within the naval base. A stream of blue flame propelled something hurtling toward Cardalus. With pinpoint accuracy, it arrived directly before him. Cardalus reached out to catch it, revealing a monstrous cannon barrel over 10 meters long. Entirely pitch black, its intricate mechanical structure felt so heavy it nearly took his breath away. Only a mutant like Cardalus would dare pick up such a weapon and wield it like a rocket launcher. He raised the colossal heavenly dimensional weapon, aimed it at the Crimson Colossus, and upon the intelligent system completing its connection, fired. Simultaneously, the Crimson Colossus unleashed a black supernatural blast from its maw. The heavenly cannon responded with a dazzling blue beam. The two converged mid-air, colliding with brutal force. Boom! The impact echoed like a massive boulder crashing into water, a deep, terrifying rumble. Two energy masses converged into a massive, multicolored sphere that instantly swept across the sea surface, forming a colossal storm. The impact was so immense that all surrounding sea beasts and Mist Valley warriors were caught in its path. Many couldn't escape in time, their bodies torn apart by the terrifying energy, reduced to particles. Towering waves engulfed the naval base. Ordinary soldiers fled in panic. Though numerous, they proved utterly useless in a battle of this level. After the initial shockwave, the Crimson Sea Beast finally looked at Cardalus with a solemn expression. Such a tiny human. Yet it possessed power capable of standing against it. Has the technological advancement of 6 generations truly reached this level? No wonder the destruction came so swiftly. It seems another product of failure. Cardalus gazed at the heavenly dimensional weapon in his hands, his eyes brimming with admiration. What a formidable thing. Too bad I can't take it with me to use. Though formidable, the heavenly dimensional weapon had glaring flaws. Its sheer size made it cumbersome to wield, and recharging it was a tedious process. It served adequately as a land-based defensive weapon, but was ill-suited for portable combat. For long-range strikes, the Reaper of Love remained far more practical. Meanwhile, as war erupted here, the commander of the black-white armor soldiers had already led a contingent of Mist Valley warriors to land at the naval base, intent on swiftly annihilating the entire facility. In the shadows, a gun barrel was trained upon him. The former Billy the Kid, Yashin Canelo, had undergone a qualitative shift in ability after ascending to Epsilon tier. Having suffered defeat at Zhang Yi's hands in Star Island's Mist Valley, he resolutely added a long-range sniper rifle to his arsenal. The sniper's greatest advantage lies in initiating attacks from extreme distances, a capability he recognized as his own deficiency. Thus, his true battlefield should be precisely this, concealed in the shadows, striking down enemies from the dark. The black and white commander led Mist Valley's elite forces into the naval base. Just as they were about to unleash widespread destruction and slaughter, a large sniper rifle barrel silently locked onto his head. Canelo held his breath, locked onto the black and white commander's head, and swiftly pulled the trigger. A jet of black light shot from his barrel, reaching the black and white commander in an instant. The black and white commander was about to react when he sensed the danger closing in. A chill ran down his spine. Without hesitation, he activated his ability. His arms shot forward as a shield, his body swelling to twice its size. 2 arms encased in black and white armor stood before him like 2 metal pillars. Pfft! The seemingly indestructible body of the enhancement-type ability user was instantly torn open by Canelo's bullet. The black and white commander's arms were pierced clean through. His pupils contracted violently as the impact slowed the bullet, narrowly missing his head. Whoosh! The black bullet, infused with terrifying supernatural energy, grazed his skull and shattered his armor. Exposing crimson flesh beneath, as shards of armor fell away, revealing faint traces of short, scarlet horns protruding from his skull. But did you think that was the end? It wasn't. Following that bullet, 2 more fired in rapid succession, streaking toward his body with hair-trigger precision. Everything penetrates, its formidable armor-piercing capability nullifies most defenses against physical attacks. Even opponents with far superior ability indexes than Canelo would struggle against it. This was the sniper's power, concentrating all strength into a single, absolute long-range strike. In the past, Canelo had fallen into a misconception. He believed only by developing all his abilities evenly could he become invincible. But after encountering Zhang Yi, he finally understood, if one strives for perfection in every aspect, they can only achieve mediocrity in all. Without any standout strengths, one cannot become a truly formidable mutant. Take Zhang Yi, for instance. By pushing his defense to the absolute limit, he could make enemies with far higher ability indices utterly frustrated. Canelo, however, chose the path of extreme offensive power. From the very start of this war, Canelo had never appeared directly. The Black and White commander focused their attention entirely on Cardalis, believing no stronger mutant existed at the naval base. Thus, Canelo's attack caught him completely off guard. 3 shots fired, one pierced through both his arms, the other 2 tore through his chest and lower abdomen. As a top-tier enhancement-type mutant, the Black and White commander reacted with blinding speed, dodging the vital strikes. Yet before he could even see his opponent, 3 bullets struck him, forcing him to abandon his contempt for humans. These guys are a tad stronger than I imagined. Looks like I'll have to take this seriously. The Black and White commander assumed a combat stance. What was terrifying was that the wounds inflicted by Canelo were healing at an astonishing rate. Enhancement mutants possessed the most formidable physiques. In terms of pure physical defense and self-healing capabilities, they were the strongest. All 3 of Canelo's shots had missed his vital areas. Even if his internal organs were damaged, as long as his brain and heart remained intact, he could regenerate rapidly. Witnessing this, Canelo's lips slowly curved into a smile. I know. I've always known you lot are the hardest to deal with. The Black and White commander had pinpointed Canelo's location and was charging full speed to eliminate the human lurking in the shadows. But suddenly, his body froze rigid as an intense numbness washed over him. Canelo remarked calmly, I laced the bullets with lethal toxins. That man taught me that trick. The strength of a mutant isn't solely determined by their ability index. What matters more is whether they can adapt flexibly on the battlefield, whether they can abandon so-called pride of the strong and resort to any means necessary to kill their opponent. In a war of life and death, as long as you win, the methods used are irrelevant. The Black and White commander gritted his teeth, his rage boiling over this time. To be toyed with repeatedly by humans, such humiliation was unbearable to his pride. Roar! He let out a furious roar to the heavens. Antidote surged through his veins, injected directly into his armor to suppress the poison spreading through his body. Then, like a raging storm, he charged straight toward Canelo. Boom! In an instant, everything in his path was obliterated. Like a sharp blade cleaving down from the sky, he carved a terrifying, straight trail of destruction through the naval base. Canelo's expression grew even more grim. Damn, he's tough to kill. Without hesitation, he sprang to his feet and streaked toward the distance. Within the familiar confines of the naval base, he moved like a fish in water, utilizing the auxiliary functions of his combat suit to swiftly escape. As the Black and White commander pursued, explosions erupted in his wake. The traps Canelo had laid activated, areas specifically prepared for powerful mutants invading the naval base. One after another, ammunition depots detonated. Explosives comparable to miniature Reaper of Love yields erupted, forming massive mushroom clouds in the sky. Temperatures surged by over 100 degrees around the entire naval base, as warm as summer. While 2 Mist Valley forces assaulted the 2 major military bases in the East Sea region, 3 Silver Armor warriors led hundreds of Mist Valley elite soldiers flying toward the land of Huashu Kingdom. Their armor, resembling aircraft, emitted blue light as they streaked across the night sky like a meteor shower. As they approached the coastal waters of the Huashu Kingdom and beheld the vast expanse of land, the 3 Silver Armor warriors exchanged glances and brief communication. Then, the entire force swiftly split into 3 directions. One headed straight for the northeast. One headed straight for the northwest. One headed straight for Jiangnan. News of the attack on the naval bases in the East Sea region and the Columbus Ocean Fleet reached all major regions of Huashu Kingdom immediately. However, due to the vast distances involved and the inherent inefficiencies of human intelligence transmission, it was impossible to inform everyone in a timely manner. Take the Jiangnan region, for instance. Zhangyi couldn't receive the intelligence directly, it had to be relayed through Blizzard City. Meanwhile, in the distant northeast region, currently the coldest part of the entire Huashu Kingdom, Han Shanza, the lord of the Luya Dao, was bare-chested in a heated room, drinking beer and shooting the breeze with a few old buddies when he received the news. Han Shanza glanced at it. It was a call from Ji Changhai, the commander of the northeast region. His brow furrowed. Old Ji really has no sense of timing. I'm drinking right now, why is he calling me? He turned to his buddies. You guys keep drinking. I'll handle him for a sec. With that, Han Shanza grabbed the communicator and headed into the next room. Han Shanza entered the adjacent room and instantly switched his demeanor. Commander Ji, what can I do for you? Ji Changhai, known as Commander Ji, clearly didn't catch the pun. His tone turned serious. Major, trouble's brewing in the East Sea. Just got intel, creatures from the underground civilization have escaped and are wreaking havoc. We need to be vigilant. Things are unstable right now. Han Shanza scratched his head. What's going on in the East Sea has nothing to do with us, right? You can't say that. The 5 regions of Huashu Kingdom rise and fall together. Today it's the East Sea region, tomorrow it could be us. Han Shanza chuckled. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Why the rush? What, you want me to go send reinforcements? No sooner had the words left his mouth than he suddenly sensed the room's brightness rapidly intensifying. It was midnight, and the lighting was perfectly ordinary. Yet he felt that blinding radiance made the room brighter than daylight. Han Shanza instinctively turned to see what lay beyond the window. It appeared as though a sun had risen over the northeastern plains. Approximately 2 seconds after witnessing the light, a deafening roar erupted beside his ears, surging in waves like an impending earthquake. Boom! The earth trembled beneath his feet. Everything in the room shook violently. The leisurely expression vanished instantly from Han Shanza's face. His gaze turned terrifyingly serious. Commander Ji, looks like real trouble has arrived. The 3rd Mist Valley Mutant Force, advancing northward along the East Sea, had descended upon Fengtian City in the northeast region. Though Han Shanza usually carried himself with a carefree swagger, he was utterly uncompromising when duty called. He swiftly changed into his combat uniform. The few drinking buddies in the room were already geared up and ready to go. They were all members of the Northeast region's fierce Tiger Army, elite soldiers among the elite. Now, not a trace of drunkenness remained on their faces, only fierce determination burned in their eyes. Han Shanza strode decisively out the door. Let's go! We're going to wipe out those bastards who dared provoke the Northeast region. The moment he stepped outside, his body abruptly transformed into a swarm of black crows, soaring skyward. Meanwhile, in Fengtian City, the Mist Valley's mutant troops had arrived. Gazing upon the snow-covered castle before them, they were momentarily captivated by its beauty. Snow City Fengtian. This region had long endured perpetual cold, so since ancient times, its inhabitants had mastered the art of harnessing ice and snow. The glacial descent merely brought a slight intensification to their already frigid seasons. Fortunately, they had long mastered how to endure such bitter cold. Thus, after the apocalypse, they weeded out most of the physically weak. Those who survived adapted to everything faster than people from other major regions. Survival of the fittest. This is the allure of a civilization. This beautiful city, I almost feel reluctant to destroy it. Silver Armor remarked indifferently. He instructed his subordinates, do not kill everyone. Leave some females and cubs behind to be kept as pets. And preserve the city as much as possible in its original state. I want a pet farm. The black and white commander nodded behind him. Understood, General. While they spoke, the mighty Tiger Guard had already arrived. Much like other factions, these mobile forces reacted swiftly, immediately mobilizing heavy firepower to assault the invaders. Unfortunately, the disparity in strength was simply too great. They had never faced a force of this level before. Attacks from ordinary soldiers and low-level mutants barely made a dent. Silver Armor appeared to be a leisurely soul who enjoyed life. He flew above an ice castle, perched atop it, quietly admiring the snow-covered city's beauty, seemingly indifferent to the battle below. Yet, the mere 100 elite troops led by the black and white commander were sufficient to slaughter the entire mighty Tiger Guard. In less than a minute, the human soldiers were trampled like ants under a giant's foot, with casualties exceeding 5,000. At that moment, vast flocks of crows flew toward this direction from the sky. Caw caw caw, the crows' cries were piercingly shrill, carrying an eerie omen of disaster. Silver Armor looked up to see a massive black cloud approaching from the northeast. Upon closer inspection, he realized the cloud was formed by vast flocks of crows. As they reached the battlefield, black feathers began drifting down like rain, settling upon the shoulders of the Mist Valley warriors. The Mist Valley warriors stared curiously at the black feathers beside them. In the next instant, the feathers transformed into thick, black smoke, enveloping them completely. The black smoke coiled around their entire bodies, seeping through the cracks in their armor, and finally penetrating every orifice. Mouths, noses, ears, eyes, even the anus and genital openings.